Welcome back to Tabletop Titans and our very first Age of Sigmar Titan Tactics. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new General's Handbook and giving you an overview of the book and how it works. Of course, if you do enjoy this content, go ahead and hit like and subscribe down below. It greatly helps us grow the channel and let you guys know what you like. So the big theme for the General's Handbook this time around is an emphasis on foot lords and foot units. There's many things that are going to support this, many additional abilities, additional ways of scoring, and so it's going to really change the focus away from these big killy units that may be cavalry and big monsters and things like that to a need for humble heroes and humble units. Let's take a look. Much of the new handbook revolves around the concept of Galletian Champions. A Galletian Champion is any hero that is non-unique, not mounted, and has less than 10 wounds. This is going to give them the Galletian Champion keyword and it unlocks a number of abilities. First off, we have a couple core benefits. We have the key to victory. This means that Galletian Champions within 1 inch of battle line units cannot be shot at. So no sniping, no -1 to hit, just can't be shot. Pretty amazing. Desperate Action is another ability that they gain, and this is going to give them the ability to perform 2 heroic actions when you're going second in a round and you select a Galletian Champion. The new General's Handbook sees the addition of 3 new core battalions, of course replacing the old ones that existed in the previous General's Handbook. The first core battalion is Galletian Command. This has a requirement of 1 Galletian Champion and 1 eligible infantry unit. Don't forget, in this case, for all 3 of these battalions, when we talk about infantry, we're talking about units that have 4 or less wounds, that are not mounted, that are not monsters, not behemoths, and not artillery. What are you going to get for this core battalion? You're going to get the United in Purpose rule. This grants your infantry unit Sworn Bodyguard, which does a couple things later on. And it means in combat, if the unit is wholly within 6 inches of the champion, then these units may fight one after the other. So you can have the champion fight and then the Sworn Bodyguard, or vice versa, as long as the bodyguard is wholly within 6 of the champion. Amazing double activation ability that kind of leans into previous things that we've seen Games Workshop grant to these infantry lords. Now, if you're not a big fan of the Galletian Champions, we have the battalion for you. This is the Galletian Sharpshooters battalion. Requires 3, no more, no less, infantry units, as discussed before. And what it's going to let you do is those 3 units can ignore the new ability to prevent Galletian Champions from getting shot. So even if they're within 1 inch of a battle line, you can still shoot them. Interesting that they need 3 units to fill this battalion, but also take note, those 3 units don't all have to be able to shoot. Food for thought. Last of all, we see Galletian Veterans make a return. It's very different than in the previous season. This is a battalion that requires 2 to 4 infantry squads, and it's essentially, long story short, going to let you fight in 2 ranks. It means a model can fight if it's within ½ inch of a model within ½ inch of an enemy. So fighting in 2 ranks, not a bad ability for certain units that really do need it. Also new in the General's Handbook, we see new heroic actions just for this season. We have Strike at the opening, which can be performed with a Galletian Champion, and this is going to let them fight immediately in the hero phase. And you can still fight later on in the combat phase, but you're going to have the Strike last effect. Lead by Example is another heroic action. In this case, it's effectively the same ability, but it triggers with a Sworn Bodyguard unit that's within 6 inches of the hero that has performed the Strike at the opening. So your hero can fight in the hero phase, and then their Sworn Bodyguard, if they're nearby, can also fight in the hero phase. Very saucy, very interesting. As with every new season, we get a new spell known by all wizards in the game. This time around, it is the Grinding Teeth of Galletian. This has a casting value of 6 and a range of 12, and you cast it on an objective marker within range and visibility to the caster. This spell is then going to do D6 mortal wounds to every unit within 6 inches on a 4+. Do take note, this is friendly and enemy units alike. We also see a new generic command ability. This one is called No Retreat, No Surrender, and you can use it in the start of the combat phase on a friendly non-hero or non-monster unit. What it does is it disallows them from doing pile-in moves, but in exchange you're going to get +1 attack on all their melee profiles except for the mount profiles. We also see the addition of 3 new artifacts of power. These 3 are all limited to Galletian Champions. Let's take a look. We have the Tusk Helm, which allows you to roll a number of dice equal to the unmodified charge roll, and you deal a mortal wound on a 4+. Pretty saucy ability right there. We also have the Night Flyer Cloak. This allows you to start your hero in reserve, and at the end of any movement, you can place them on the battlefield within 1 inch of a battle line, more than 9 inches away from any enemy unit. And last but not least, we have the Glyph Feather Charm, which is kind of the resurgence of the old Amulet of Destiny. It grants a 5+ ward save, but is limited, of course, by the fact that it can only go on a Galletian Champion and not a giant Mega Gargant. Aspects of the Champion are a new, unique type of enhancement in the game. These are enhancements that can only be taken by, again, Galletian Champions. You do get 1 free in every army, and you can still purchase additional ones with things like the battalion extra enhancement slots. So pretty exciting to have a new toy to play with regardless of how you're organizing your army. So what are they exactly? First off, we've got Tunnel Master, which is a once per battle ability. It's going to allow you to pick up the hero and come down 9 inches away from enemies. Fueled by Rage is another one that is once per battle and occurs when the unit would die. On a 3+, the model survives and lives with D3 wounds. Stubborn as a Rhinox, very interesting, allows the champion to count as 10 models for contesting objectives, but it doesn't work if another Galletian champion is contesting on your enemy's side. Last of all, we have Leadership of the Alpha. This is another once per battle ability, and it essentially allows you to issue the same command 2 extra times immediately for free. So if you do an all-out attack, or all-out defense, a rally, or a redeploy, you can immediately do it on 2 other units within range, and it costs you nothing else. Now we're getting to the core of things. Let's talk about grand strategies, which of course you pick on your army roster, and they stay throughout every game. Here we see the return of some classics and the addition of some new ones. There are 6 total to pick from. Let's take a look. We have Tame the Land, where you need to control all objectives wholly outside your territory. Defend What's Ours, where no enemy units can be wholly within your territory. Take What's Theirs, which requires more friendly than enemy units wholly within enemy territory. Stake a Claim, in which 3 or more Galletian champions have to be wholly within enemy territory. You get Survivor's Instinct if your general is a Galletian champion and contesting an objective wholly outside your territory. The last grand strategy is Day is Ours. This one scores if you have more Galletian champions from your starting army than your enemy has on the field. Battle tactics, much like grand strategy, see the return of some classics and addition of some new ones. These, of course, are all scored at the end of the player turn. We have Gaining Momentum, where you pick an enemy unit on the battlefield, and you need to kill it and hold more objectives than your opponent. To score an eye for an eye, you have to have lost a unit in the last turn, and all you have to do in return is kill an enemy unit. Desecrate Their Lands returns, in which you pick a terrain feature at least partially within enemy territory and take control of by the end of the turn. This One's Mine also returns, in which you pick an enemy unit and you must kill it with your general. A Matter of Honor requires you to pick an enemy Galletian champion or sworn bodyguard, and then kill it with one of your Galletian champions or sworn bodyguard. Lead the Assault is particularly interesting. You have to control 2 or more objectives in enemy territory, and you need to contest these objectives with Galletian champion. United Offense asks that you pick an objective that your opponent controls, and then control it at the end of the turn, and have at least 2 Galletian champions on it. Finally, Cunning Maneuver is going to ask you to pick a friendly Galletian champion more than 3 inches from enemies, and end the turn contesting an objective that you control while still remaining more than 3 inches from other enemies. Pretty interesting that a number of these do really require you to have several Galletian champions, and I'm curious as always to see how people build their lists around this. Are you going to be taking lots of Galletian champions, or are you going to just be trying to kill them and score your own points as quickly as possible? This was a big question, a big deal in the last season, and of course exciting to see how it pans out in this new season. So overall, big emphasis on Galletian champions, on infantry. Sworn bodyguards seem very powerful, but maybe not every army is going to be able to take advantage of them, so maybe that's something you forgo in exchange for more champions, or frankly just killing everything off the board. Let us know what you think in the comments below, what you're planning for the new season, and let us know if you want to see more content on AOS for Titan Tactics. That's going to be it for me. I'll catch you guys next time on the tabletop. Bye!